Hello everyone. Today we are going to see letter writing. Synopsis. In this session we are going to see the following topics. The first one is what is mean by a letter, definition of letter, what is letter writing, definition of letter writing, advantages of writing a letter writing etiquette. Next, we are going to see classification of letters. Letters are broadly classified as formal letter and informal letter. Then, things to remember while writing letter. Next, letter writing format of formal letter. Then, important pointers of formal letter. Next, example of formal letter. Useful sentences. Next, letter writing format of informal letters. Important pointers of informal letter. Then, example of informal letter. Then finally, important tips for good letter writing. First, we have to know what is mean by a letter. A letter is a written or typed message from one person to another. Historically, here historically means in the past. Letters were the only reliable. Here reliable means safe means of communications between two persons at different locations. Next, we are going to see definition of letter. A letter is a written or printed communication directed to a person or organization. Letters may be created and sent as through email or electronic transmissions. Then, letters may be created and sent as through hand-delivered transmissions. Then, letters may be created and sent as through regular mail transmissions. Now, let's see what is letter writing. Letter writing is an important channel of communication between two people who are geographically distant from one another. Here, channel means medium. So, letter writing is an important medium of communication between two people who are geographically distant from one another. In the earlier times, when the telephone and email were not available, right? So the only means of communication between people was through letters. Letter writing is a skill that has to be developed. In general, there are two types of letters. The first one is formal letters and the second one is informal letters. Formal letters are written to convey official business information, and informal letters, which are personal letters to communicate with friends and family. A letter is usually one in a series of exchanges between two people. Next, we are going to learn about definition of letter writing. Letter is a written message. We write a letter to persons who are far away from us. We want to convey our message to them in a clear manner. Let's see some advantages of writing a letter. Letters provide a permanent record that can be filed and referred to in the future. It can be reread and studied, which is important if a letter is long, is complex, or has been written in anger. It can be revised and edited to ensure they adhere to the principles of business communication. It can have legal value. Letters are the most important means of written communication. Modern information technology has not diminished their importance. Next, let's see letter writing etiquette. So what is mean by etiquette? Etiquette is good manners or appropriate or accepted social practices that reflect and promote civility. Here, civility means politeness. When should you write a letter to thank someone who has been gracious, kind, or helpful to you? When you need assistance or answers to help you make intelligent decisions, to respond to a letter or letter request that you have recently received. Do not wait too long. To create legal documents that record information and support claims. To show that you are a courteous, which means polite, professional, detail-oriented person who is aware of etiquette. Next, we are going to see classification of letters. Letters are broadly classified as formal letters and informal letters. Let's see definition of formal letter and informal letter. A formal letter is a letter written to a business, a college, or any professional that are not considered friends or family. An informal letter is a letter you would write to a friend or family. Next, let's see formal letter versus informal letter. The main difference between a formal letter and an informal letter is their purpose. A formal letter is written for professional. Here, professional means official and business communication, written in the formal language with a specific format for business or official purpose. Example, a letter of inquiry, a letter of request, or a letter of complaint. Whereas an informal letter is used for personal communication. Informal letters are letters we write to friends and relatives. There is no strict format to write an informal letter. Two main categories of letter. Personal letters are also known as informal letters. It is a type of letter or informal composition that usually concerns personal matters rather than professional concerns and is sent from one individual to another. Business letters are also known as formal letters. It is a letter written in formal language, usually used when writing from one business organization to another. Now we are going to learn things to remember while writing letter. Decide how formal your letter needs to be. How you write the letter will depend on your relationship with the recipient. Here, recipient means receiver. If you are writing to anyone with whom you hope to have a professional relationship, then the letter should be formal. If you are writing someone you know very well, then the letter should probably be informal. Then decide whether you will send a handwritten letter or typed. The way you choose to send your letter also indicates a degree of formality. Most formal letters should be typed and sent through the post. For informal letters, an email or handwritten letter is acceptable. Next, we are going to learn letter writing format of formal letter. First one is sender's address, next date, then receiver's address, then subject, salutation, body of the letter, then complimentary closure, finally signature line, sender's name, signature and designation. The first one is sender's address, one of the most essential components. Here essential means important, so sender's address is one of the most important components, also known as the written address. It is the mailing address of the sender. The address and contact details of the person sending the letter are written here. Next, date. Immediately after the sender's address comes the date on which the letter is written. Candidates, while writing the letter in the exam, can follow any of the formats to write the dates. First one is DD/MM/YY. Here DD refers date, MM refers month, YY refers year, or MM/DD/YY. The third one is receiver's address. The corresponding address, that is the address of the recipient. Here recipient means receiver of the mail is written here. Candidates must start with the receiver's designation, followed by the name of the organization, and then the full address, PIN code and country if the information is known. The fourth one is the subject. This highlights the aim of writing the letter. The subject of the formal letter should be very brief. Here brief means short, 6 to 8 words, and must be preceded by the word subject. The receiver, through the subject, understands the purpose of the letter at a glance. The fifth one is salutation. This is a customary greeting to the recipient. Here, recipient means receiver of the letter. If the name of the recipient is known, the salutation starts with dear, followed by Mr. or Mrs. or Miss, etc. If the person is unknown or even the gender is not known, the recipient can be addressed as dear sir or dear madam. The sixth one is body, which means body of the letter, the most important element of any letter. It furnishes the reason behind writing the letter. For formal letters, candidates should use short, clear, logical paragraphs to state the subject matter. The body of the letter is generally divided into 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is that introduction that states the main point. The second paragraph is that middle part, which means supporting points and details. To justify the need and importance of letter writing. Third paragraph is that conclusion, request for some action or what is expected. The seventh one is complimentary closure. This is to end the letter with respect in a polite manner, such as yours faithfully, yours sincerely, etc. The eighth one is signature line. This is the last part where the sender of the letter signs off with his first or last name. The signature line may also include a second line for the title or designation of the sender. Candidates writing formal letters in the exam must remember the following pointers. Use of colloquial words. Here, colloquial means informal or casual words, short forms, slang language and abbreviations are restricted. The letter must be to the point, precise. Here, precise means exact or correct and clearly indicating the message. The subject line is very important in formal letters. In modern times of internet and social media, the whole world has become technically advanced, right? Emails, social media chats, text have become our favorite modes of communication. However, letters still hold a great value, especially the formal letters that are used a medium to communicate in a professional environment of written to authorities, as these letters generally are preserved for the record. Now, let's see the format of a formal letter. The first one is your address. Second, the name and address of the person to whom you are writing. Third, the date. Fourth, the greeting. Fifth, the body of the letter. It consists of introduction, main parts and conclusion. Sixth one is the ending. Seventh one is that your signature. Now, let's see rules for writing formal letter in English. The first rule is that only the date at the top of right hand corner. Next, name and address of the writer at left hand side. Third rule is that the address of the person you are writing to, which means the inside address should be written on the left, starting below your address. Next, let's see salutation or greeting and ending a letter. First, let's see about salutation. First, dear sir or madam. If you do not know the name of the person you are writing to, use this. It is always advisable to try to find out a name. The second one is that, dear Mr. Jenkins. If you know the name, use the title like Mr., Mrs., Miss or Miss, dear, etc. And the surname only. If you are writing to a woman and do not know if she uses Mrs. or Miss, you can use Miss, which is for married and single women. Next, let's see about ending a letter. First one is yours faithfully. If you do not know the name of the person, end the letter this way. The second one is Yours sincerely. If you know the name of the person, end the letter this way. The third one is your signature. Sign your name, then print it underneath the signature. If you think the person you are writing to might not know whether you are male or female, put your title in brackets after your name. Next, let's see content of a formal letter. Content of a formal letter, first paragraph. The first paragraph should be short and state the purpose of the letter: to make an enquiry, complain, request something, etc. The paragraph or paragraphs in the middle of the letter should contain the relevant information behind the writing of the letter. Most letters in English are not very long, so keep the information to the essentials and concentrate on organizing it in a clear and logical manner rather than expanding too much. Last paragraph. The last paragraph of a formal letter should state what action you expect the recipient, which means receiver, to take to refund, send you information, etc. Now we are going to see example of formal letter. You wish to visit a cement factory with your classmates. Write a letter to the manager of the factory requesting his permission. This is an example of formal letter. From address: S. Veera, Alpha Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Puducherry. To address: the manager, Ramco Cement Factory Private Limited, Virudhunagar. Respected Sir. Subject: permission to visit cement factory, rig. Here rig refers to regarding. A group of 50 students and 7 teachers of our school has planned to visit your factory on 2nd November 2020. We are eager to know the process of manufacturing cement. Kindly permit us to visit the factory either on 2/11/2020 or any other convenient date for you. Expecting your favorable reply. Yours faithfully, S. Veera. Address on the envelope. To address: the manager, Ramco Cement Factory Private Limited, Virudhunagar. Next, we are going to see some useful sentences. If you are going to write a letter to apply for a job, you may use the following sentences. Application: in reply to your advertisement in day's paper, I would like to apply for the post job of which was advertised in on. I wish to apply for admission to. Please or as requested or find enclosed letters of reference from. I am years old. My qualifications are as follows. List of your qualifications. In. I graduated from. I majored in. I would be glad to come for an interview at any time that is convenient for you. If you are going to write a letter is about any inquiry, you may use the following sentences. Inquiry: I am interested to learn more about. I wish to learn more about. I would be most grateful if you could supply us with the following information. I would like to get a description of. Do you supply? Does it include dinner or equipment or activities? What is the price of per day, week? I would appreciate if you could. Would you kindly? If you are going to write a letter about any complaint, you may use the following sentences. Complaint. I wish to draw your attention to. I suggest that immediate steps be taken to. I wish to complain about. I look forward to a prompt reply and hope that you will take into consideration. I am really dissatisfied with. So, these are all some useful sentences. Use it appropriately. Next, we are going to see letter writing format of informal letters. First, address, date, salutation, body of the letter, sender's name and signature. The first one is address. The sender's address is important in informal letters since informal letters are personal letters and sent to acquaintances. So what is meant by an acquaintance? An acquaintance is someone who you have met and know slightly but not well, or people who are known. The receiver's address is only mentioned on the envelope carrying the letter. Next, date. Immediately after the sender's address comes the date on which the letter is written. Candidates, while writing the letter in the exam, can follow any of the formats to write the dates. First one is DD/MM/YY. Here DD refers date, MM refers month, YY refers year, or MM/DD/YY. Third one is salutation. Salutation in informal letters can be dear or dearest, hi or hello, followed by the first name or nickname of the recipient, which means receiver. Fourth one is body of the letter. The body in the informal letters can be long and detailed, containing diverse feelings, experiences, advice, news, etc. Fifth one is sender's name and signature. This is the last part where the sender of the letter signs off with his first or last name. The signature line may also include a second line for the title or designation of the sender. Now we are going to see some important pointers of informal letter. The first point is that the subject line is not required in an informal letter. No prescribed format has to be strictly followed. The usage of language must be friendly and casual. The letter can have extra information as per the sender's choice. Next, we are going to see format of an informal letter. The format of writing an informal letter. The first one is address. The writer's address is written at the top right hand corner. For example, 7 North Street, Anna Nagar, West, Chennai. Date written below the address. For example, 2nd November 2020. Next, we have salutation or greeting. Written on the left hand side of the letter, begin with dear. For example, dear Purni, dear Nitya. Dearest or my dear for close friends and family. For example, dearest father, dearest mother, my dear uncle Kumar. Opening, that is first paragraph. You may begin your letter by asking about the person's health. For example, how are you? I hope that you are in the pink. How is your family getting on? I am fine and I hope you are fine too. I hope that you are as fit as a fiddle. Asking what the reader had been up to. How is the weather at your place? Not too hot, I hope. Did you get to visit your grandparents? Did you go on your trip to Paris as you had hoped? They say Paris is a beautiful city. Expressing happiness and sorrow. Expressing happiness, for example, I received your letter on. I am happy to receive your letter. Thank you for your letter which I received. I am so glad to hear. I am glad to learn that. Expressing sorrow. I am sorry to hear that. Expressing apology. I did like to say sorry for. I am sorry for not writing. Content, several paragraphs. In the second paragraph, mention your main reason for writing the letter. You may use the following phrase. In your last letter, you wanted me to describe or advise. I am writing this letter to. Closing, which means last paragraph. Inform the reader that you are ending the letter. You may use the following phrases. I will write again soon. Do write to me soon. Well, that's about all for now. Please give or send my regards to. Please convey my warm regards to. Let me pen off here. Take care of yourself. Hope to hear from you soon. I am looking forward to hearing from you soon. Hope to receive a reply from you. Bye or goodbye. Next, we have signing off. Signing off. If you are writing to your parents, you can sign off using your loving daughter, yours lovingly, yours affectionately. Signing off. If you are writing to friends or relatives, you can sign off using your friend, yours sincerely, yours faithfully, your niece or nephew. Finally, we have signature. Sign your name at the bottom of the letter in the right hand corner. For example, Veera, Purni, Nitya, Ramya, etc. Now, look at the format of letters. Formal letter as well as informal letter. Formal letter, we have from address to address, salutation, subject, introduction, body of the letter, conclusion, subscription, place, date, address on the envelope. In that, we have to write to address. Informal letter, from address, date, salutation, introduction, body of the letter, conclusion, subscription, address on the envelope. In that you have to write to address. Now we are going to see an example of informal letter. This is an example of informal letter. Write a letter to your friend describing your school day function. 7. North Street, Anna Nagar West, Chennai, 2nd November 2020. Dear Nitya, well and hope so. Last Friday we had our school day function. It was nice and wonderful. We had interesting cultural programs also. I took part in the English drama, Hamlet. Prizes were distributed and I enjoyed the whole day. Expecting your reply. Yours affectionately, V. Ramya. Address on the envelope to V. Nitya, South Street, Netaji Nagar, Trichy. Finally, we are going to see some important tips for good letter writing. Candidates must be able to identify the type of letter they will write. For example, writing a letter to the principal asking for leave is a formal letter, but writing a letter to your friend is an informal letter. Opening and closing of letters must be in the correct manner. Formal letters must open and close in a professional manner, while informal letters can be directly addressed to the person with greetings. Even closing the letters is significant. Formal letters always end respectfully and impersonally, whereas informal letters may end with a more personal touch. In formal letters, making clear the purpose of the letter immediately is important. Candidates writing formal letters must make sure to get to the point as soon as possible. A letter is always supposed to be considerate and polite. It is essential to use polite words and civil language. Here, civil means polite language in all types of letters, be it formal or informal. Even if the letter is about any complaint, the point must be made in a careful and courteous manner, which means polite manner. The length of the letter also holds relevance. In formal letters, the matter should be expressed to the point, precise. Here, precise means accurate or correct, and short, while the length of the personal or informal letter depends on the message and the relation to the recipient. Here, recipient means receiver. So, these are all some important tips for good letter writing. So now, we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.